Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined here on the couch today by Shaka Hislop, Ali Moreno and Paul Mariner. Raf Honigstein will be with us shortly. And a little later on in the programme, Alexis Nunes will be here. She quite literally made a splash, didn't she, at the weekend when she met Pogba and Lukaku. It's gone viral. She'll be telling us what provoked her getting pushed in the pool. But for now, we're joined by Adrian Healy, who is outside Manchester United's team hotel in LA. Of course, Aid, it was made official today, wasn't it? Romelu Lukaku, the latest addition to the Manchester United squad, and you were at his first training session.
Indeed, Dan. As he said, standing right outside the Montage Hotel here in swanky Beverly Hills. The players inside as we speak, resting up, getting ready for session number 2 of the day. Yes, it's 2 a days to start things off for Jose Mourinho in year 2. We were there to see Romelu Lukaku emerge for the first time officially as a Manchester United player. £75 million. He's looking forward to playing in front of 75,000 at Old Trafford. And there was probably, I don't know, 30 people there to see him come out at UCLA Drake Stadium this morning. A little bit of a low-key start for him. Probably he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Wearing the red bib right from the start, fitted right in, playing in a group alongside his good friend Paul Pogba and being put through their paces early on.
What was the atmosphere like? It's obviously, Mourinho's had good 12 months now to work with the team. The pre-season last year seemed to be full of problems. This one seems a bit smoother so far.
Yeah, Dan, it's been really noticeable being up close with Mourinho, seeing him operate both yesterday and today. Smiles, chit-chatting, hugs. Just a very different figure that he's cutting from a year ago. Remember the frustrations around that Asian tour, the big derby getting cancelled, the weather being an issue. He, make no mistake, is in his element here. He loves it here. I think this is the 9th time he's been here with various teams over the years, so he's very much the smooth operator when it comes to operating this turf. And he likes the anonymity. I mentioned how few there were there this morning, predominantly a British media crew, not too much local media attention. In fact, I even heard one of the British journalists down saying, hang on a sec, why isn't this on the front cover of USA Today? The fact that United had just touched down. But I guess it's different media worlds we live in.
Yes, slightly, to say the least, Aid. So, obviously, all eyes will be on Lukaku making his debut. They've got LA Galaxy and they've got RSL, haven't they, in a matter of a 48-hour period starting this weekend. When can we expect him to start?
Well, the word is that we may not see him in the first of those 2 friendlies. That's on Saturday against the Galaxy, just 20 miles from here at the Suburb Centre. We're being told that perhaps RSL, the game against Salt Lake in Salt Lake City on Monday, might be the first time we're seeing Lukaku. To my eyes, he was training with the first team today. He was wearing the red bibs. He saw them going through some routines where he was clearly operating as a first-team member. But maybe Mourinho just being cautious with his new £75 million acquisition right from the start and giving him a few extra days. They will need to play with 2 essentially different teams, given that those 2 games are so close together.
Adrian Healy, thank you very much. For a lot more from Aid, he keeps telling us how hard he's working in Beverly Hills. You can go over to espnfc.com and see what he's up to. Aid, of course, will be in California all week. So, it's official, boys. Romelu Lukaku is a United player. Mariner, you were talking earlier, and we discussed this on yesterday's show, how it's very different playing for Everton than it is Manchester United. Now, you had first-hand experience of this. At Ipswich, you were a big boy, no problem, scoring goals for fun. Yep. Then you moved to Arsenal, a lot more pressure on you.
A lot more pressure is an understatement, Dan. Look, with no disrespect to Everton, Everton are beefing up, yeah, but in previous seasons, playing for Everton with a number 9 shirt, there's not that much media coverage, there's not that much pressure. In Liverpool, yes. But when you pull the number 9 shirt on for Manchester United, and depends who you talk to, whether it's one of or the biggest or one of the biggest clubs in the world, the pressure is incredible because it's every single day. The presser at the training, unless it's a closed session, the press are there every single day. And they will be asking questions about Lukaku. What's his form like? They'll be observing him in training. They'll be observing what he does on the field. And I think that if he can handle the pressure, then that is one aspect of being the number 9 for Man United. But the bigger ask that I have about Lukaku is in those tight areas, when teams are going to sit in, when teams are going to defend deep, has he got the quick feet to open those defences up and finish? I don't know.
That sounds like a no.
Well, it is a no at the moment. I mean, I hope he does well, but at the moment, what I've seen at Everton, I don't see him being a success.
Raf Honigstein is with us. It's interesting, Raf, in that interview that Lukaku gave Alexis over the weekend, and from what Jose Mourinho said in his statement today, they seem to be spinning it. You know, that this was always going to be a reunion in the future, that despite the fact he let him go at Chelsea, he knew his potential, he knew they were going to work together again in the future. Obviously, that's easy to say it now, but in reality, do you think that was ever the plan?
Well, I think he's also said to somebody that Mourinho has been in touch as early as 1.5 years ago. You know, whether that is spin as well, only he and Mourinho knows. But I really remember so vividly going to Mourinho's first big game back in the Chelsea job, the UEFA Super Cup final against his nemesis, Pep Guardiola, in August 2013. And Lukaku was only on the bench then. He hadn't started a single game in all of August for Mourinho. Came on, missed a penalty. And the body language from Mourinho towards Lukaku on that night, the almost sort of disdain that you could feel in the stadium, it wasn't a big surprise that was the last kick he ever took for Chelsea. He was sold the next day. And to feel that now, 4 years later, he is the player that Mourinho brings in to lead the line and to take United a whole level, maybe 2 levels up, is remarkable. So he either must believe that in those 4 years he's come on immensely, or he must feel that he, as a coach, can now get so much out of him that he's going to be the answer. But I wouldn't have been able to predict that 4 years ago in Prague, looking at the two of them.
Meanwhile, Lukaku very much singing from the right song sheet. We heard him say a number of times in that interview that Manchester United are the biggest club in the world. Of course, he could have gone to Chelsea, goes to United. Where does this leave Chelsea? We've heard so many stories about Antonio Conte getting more and more frustrated over the summer. They need a striker. Diego Costa, of course, didn't return for pre-season training today. He's been told to have the week off. There's now infamous text between Costa and Conte with saying basically, you had a great season, but we don't need you anymore. Chelsea need a striker, and they need one soon.
They do, and I think this is not a media story. This has come as a huge shock to Chelsea because everything they've been saying on and off the record, well, mostly off, but really with confidence, was that Costa is going to go and Lukaku is the man coming in. And I think they were completely taken aback by United doing that deal basically under their noses. And now there's the struggle to get somebody in. And Morata, in a way, is an obvious replacement. I think he ticks a lot of boxes. He's got experience in Italy. You know, Conte wants that kind of centre forward. And he seems to me a more natural fit than, for example, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's also been linked with Chelsea in sections of the Spanish press. But, of course, it is not from a position of strength that Chelsea are being forced to do this deal, because everybody knows that they were prepared to pay the same money as United, maybe even more for Lukaku, and everybody knows that they even more desperately need a centre-forward now than they did a couple of weeks ago. So it's a really bad position to be in approaching the middle of July.
If we put it simply, gentlemen, Morata or Aubameyang, who are you going for?
Aubameyang. I just feel he offers more in terms of his change of pace, just in terms of how well he leads the line. I'm not sure Morata has got that full skill set.
Which makes you wonder, Shaq, why has he fallen off the face of the earth in terms of interest around the world? Because he seemed to be the big name in the market, and then as PSG went away and other teams kind of went away as well, you think, well, what's wrong with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? And maybe other teams get shy as well, because if he's going away, if that club is going away, if they don't want him, why are we going to go after him? Why do they know that we don't know? To me, I take Morata simply because I like him better as a player, because of the age factor, because I'm thinking that Morata is coming very much into his prime and he's going to be a productive player for years to come. Aubameyang, I'm not sure that whether his best years are behind him. I don't know whether he's going to have that same productivity. It's a gamble either way. I would take Morata.
This is it. Ali makes a good point. You're going to be paying £80 million, let's say, for what is a gamble either way.
It is a gamble.
Because Morata, we haven't seen. I think we haven't seen enough of consistently for a season.
But don't forget that Conte had him at Juventus, and he played in the same system that he wants to play for Chelsea. I think that Morata is perfect because he knows he can play when the high press comes. He can play beyond the high press. He can hold the ball up. He can run the channels. You don't have to run the channels so much when you've got Hazard alongside you. But when he gets into spots, he scores goals. And he scored goals at the highest level. With Real Madrid, on the biggest stage, he scored goals. I think Morata fits into Chelsea's system perfectly.
Just a reminder, as we mentioned before, Manchester United on tour in the US. Their game against LA Galaxy is live on ESPN2 at 10 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. Welcome back. Raf, let's talk Bayern, shall we, for a moment, which I feel that we haven't done too much during this transfer window so far. It seems like it's been pretty quiet. I know that Bayern CEO Karl-Heinz Rummenigge faced the press today to talk about some of the rumours that have been surrounding the German champions.
Yeah, the first point he made is that Coco Tolisso, the new midfield signer, hopefully, he said, will be one day as famous as Coco Chanel in Germany. We'll have to see if that happens. But he also used the opportunity, as you said, to give an update on lots of players coming and leaving. Serge Gnabry, the new signing from Werder Bremen, he is likely to go out on loan. It's by his own request. I think he'll end up at Hoffenheim, play possibly under the new future Bayern manager Julian Nagelsmann in the Champions League. Douglas Costa, well, reading between the lines, I think he was saying that they're haggling with Juventus still about the money, that he still expects him to go. As far as Goretzka is concerned, a big talking point in Germany. You know, the Schalke midfielder who had a great under-21s and, great Confed Cup, will he come to Bayern this year or next year because he's out of contract? Rummenigge is saying it's basically up to us. Schalke are saying, well, we can live with it either way. My money would be on Bayern actually running down Goretzka's contract and taking him for free next season. There's also still a strong rumour going around Munich that James Rodriguez might be on his way to Bayern as the so-called marquee signing that they've yet to make this transfer window. And interestingly on that, Rummenigge said no comment. And while, you know, in a normal context, that wouldn't really tell us anything, he usually debunks rumours that have no basis in fact straight away. So the fact that he wasn't willing to say anything leads me to believe that Bayern are at least trying to see if this can happen.
Raf, what do you think about James Rodriguez? Does he fit Munich, in your opinion? I mean, I can understand where Bayern are coming from. He's worked under Ancelotti. He's a guy who can play wide. He's pretty versatile. He can play in behind the striker as well. There's a bit of pressure on Thomas Müller. Bringing in James Rodriguez would increase the pressure, would give Bayern more opportunities, more alternatives up front. And he is a star. Is he sort of the explosive kind of winger, the guy that might one day take over from Robin Ribéry? I'm less sure about. It seems to me a little bit as if Bayern feel, maybe even because they've done some kind of deal with Ancelotti, that they need to present some kind of star to him this season. And, you know, he is available because Real Madrid want to sell him. So I can understand where the attraction comes from. I'm less convinced that it really fits into strategic vision of Bayern going forward so much. We'll have to see. What do you think? James to Bayern?
I like it.
Oh, yeah?
James Rodriguez is a good player. James Rodriguez is a talented player and one that can flourish under the right system, under the right coach, the right manager, that puts his arm around him and says, James, come here, buddy. Let me love you a little bit. Let me cuddle you a little bit, and how about you show it on the field for me? And I think anybody who's able to handle James Rodriguez in the past with that sort of attitude, James Rodriguez has delivered for. The passion that he shows for Colombia, he can show for other teams. You just have to treat it the right way.
And Ancelotti obviously knows him from his time at Real Madrid, and he likes a cuddle, Paul, so...
Well, my query would be, where would you play him, and instead of who? You know, when you look at him playing for Real Madrid, yes, he can do some fantastic things, he really can, but he can also be very, very bad on the day. If putting an arm around and loving him is going to get him back to that level that he plays at Colombia, then, OK, it's a good decision to bring him in, but I don't know, I'm not sure.
Well, you're not selling us on it, Paul.
No, I'm not, because I'm not sure.
You don't want to cuddle him? No, you don't.
I mean, I'll cuddle
your arm around him.
Shaq, isn't it a sense, if you're Bayern, you're kind of taking a Real Madrid reject?
Yeah, that too, but I don't see that as being the bigger issue. The bigger issue for me is with James Rodriguez, I kind of get the feeling that he has to be the star. You have to cater to James Rodriguez. And whenever you see Bayern Munich, how they play, their personnel, it's never about one individual. It's never about catering to one person. And so I'm not sure how that dynamic works for Bayern as a club and James Rodriguez as a player.
We'll say goodbye to Raf. Thank you very much, as always, for joining us, Raf. After the break, Raf will be replaced by Alexis, who I can confirm has now dried out after being thrown in the pool by Paul Pogba. She'll be explaining how this all happened and how it went viral.
What's
around the world.
Daisy?
Watch it.
Welcome back. Yesterday we showed you that world exclusive interview when Alexis Nunes sat down with Romelu Lukaku, as well as Manchester United's latest addition. Also there was Manchester United's most expensive signing. She caught up with Paul Pogba and Lukaku to talk about how they became mates.
Of course, you guys have been vacation buddies here in LA for some time now, hanging out, looking like you're having a really good time. So how did this friendship all start? How did you guys meet each other?
I knew about him when I was 15 because he played against my brother. But I was already with the first team at Anderlecht. My dad came to the house and he said, like, Mom, I see this kid for France. Amazing. So I said, what's his name? He's like, Paul Pogba. And he's going to play for Manchester United. I'm like, okay. And then I started looking some videos up on YouTube. You know, when you're younger, that's what you do. You're trying to look for...
To beat him.
for the guys who are good at your age. So I went and I was looking, and then I knew he was a good player, and then we met for the first time at Stamford Bridge when Chelsea played Man United, and we were both in the stands looking at each other saying, like, what are we doing here? But, you know, it was a great game to watch and to learn as well. And after the game, we started speaking, we exchanged numbers, and, you know, we knew that the year after it would be our year. He went to Juventus and did his thing. I went to West Brom and, you know, learned my trade in the Premier League, and here we are now.
And Paul, what about you? Did you hear about him too and look him up and see if you could beat him?
You say 15. Me was 13. I was even younger. Everybody knew about Romelu Lukaku. He was, I think when he was 11, he was playing for the first team already, so... What? So you're like, oh, who's this guy? Now I could see some video. He was like 15 or 16. We were playing for the first team already. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously I knew about him.
Of course, you said that you did look up videos on him and he's a bit older. So is there anything from his game that you wish you had?
His power.
Ooh.
Nah, he's too powerful, this guy. He's not normal. I've heard when he was two years old, he could eat 2 Big Mac. Is that true?
Is that true? 2 Big Macs at 2 years old?
He's a beast, this guy. He's a beast. He's not normal.
I was big. I was always a big boy. So, like, when I was like 6 months, like I was like the size of a 18-month-old child. So
Is that normal?
Well, you just said he's not normal.
Both of my parents are tall. Like, my dad's 6'4", my mom's like 5'9", something like that. So yeah.
What about from Pogba's game?
Skill is all on the pitch. The way he commands the game. Obviously, he's a midfielder, but his skill and vision as a striker. You know, as a striker, you have to think more sometimes as a midfielder when the defense is unlocked. So, if I would have his vision, and I'm skillful, but you know, his skill, like to get away from tight spaces. If I can add that to my game, I can score maybe 10 to 15 goals more.
Finally, before we go, Romelu, we know that there's an interesting story behind your number that you will be taking at Manchester United. What is it?
9.
And why?
Because, well, I always ask my mother what number, like, and I used to play with the 10 because my mother's birthday is on 10th of October, so it's the 10th month of the year, so that's why I played with number 10. But I asked for the number 9 because, you know, I'm a striker. Strikers play with number 9. It's a nice number, and, you know, I asked the permission to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, so I want to thank him as well for allowing me to wear that number.
Alexis Nunes is with us now. Alexis, great job over the last couple of days. This seems to be a genuine friendship.
Thanks, Dad.
So let's put this to you. If Pogba played for Chelsea, would we be talking about Lukaku now being a Chelsea player?
That's an interesting question because, like you said, I do believe that their friendship is absolutely genuine. That they get along. I mean, they're vacation buddies. They get along very well. They've known each other very well. The way they speak about each other, as he was saying, that they just knew that when they met, one day they would play together. They didn't know how, they didn't know where, but they just knew that one day they would play together. But the way that Lukaku spoke about Manchester United, the respect he has for the history of it, even though understanding that now they aren't the Manchester United that we were used to under Sir Alex Ferguson, but he still has so much respect for the club that I think he had his mind made up regardless of where Pogba was.
Shall we talk about the pool incident then, Miss Nunes? Was it set up? That's what everyone's been asking. Did you know it was going to happen?
I didn't know the push was going to happen. We were actually just talking off camera, a bit of banter, and we were playing rock, paper, scissors because it was absolutely scorching hot outside, and we said, you know, it'd be good to get in the pool. So they said, okay, would you get in the pool if you lost rock, paper, scissors? And I said, I'm a good sport, but I'm not going to lose. So we did it off, but everyone said, no, let's do it on camera. I promised I would cannonball in there, so I was getting ready to run up, but clearly Pogba's way was a bit more efficient. I just didn't expect it to come that swiftly. But either way, it was a refreshing dip, and I thank him for it, because I was like one step away from a heat stroke there.
Alexa Nunes, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your time in Beverly Hills. Just a reminder, ESPN FC with the Manchester United team throughout the week. You can join us throughout the next few days. Welcome back. We've just got Raf back because there's some news in England suggesting that Manchester United might hijack another possible Chelsea transfer.
Yeah, Tuesday's edition of the Daily Mail going very big with the story that Timothy Bakayoko, of course, the Monaco midfielder who's been a target for Chelsea for quite a while, might be the next one who will be snatched right from Chelsea's underneath Chelsea's noses. The way the story is written, though, suggests to me that maybe, and maybe I'm just being a little bit cynical here, that Monaco are leaking this to drive up the price a little bit. You know, putting the frightness on Chelsea, saying, you know, if you don't bid us more money, you might lose another one. But certainly, very authoritative story, very good reporter in Matt Barlow, so I'm sure it's very well sourced.
Oh, Conte will enjoy reading that. Finally today, Maris, I want your view on Rooney going to Everton. Rooney, who, by the way, said he still sleeps in Everton's pyjamas for the last 13 years.
It's a wonderful image. Thank you for that image.
Do you wear pyjamas, Maris?
No, I don't.
He's got Ipswich pyjamas.
Wait,
Mariner.
Wait, did you just hear what he said?
I'm trying not to.
How do we get onto this?
What an image!
Let's talk about Wayne Rooney. Where is he going to play for Ronald Koeman? What position?
I stopped listening.
There's only one position he can play, and that's 10.
I stopped listening to you after you say you wear no pajamas.
Where do you stand on pyjamas, Shaq?
Huh?
Do you wear pyjamas?
I wear boxers.
How do we get onto this?
There he is.
Hey, he looks fit. He looks fit.
He looks great.
He looks. Oh, he's looking a whole lot better than he did last season. He's ready to go.
You think so?
He'll help Everton. He'll help Everton.
You've changed your tune, Ali.
No. He'll help Everton, but that doesn't mean that Everton is going to be any better than finishing better than the way they were last
Where's he
season.
going to play him?
Hey, leadership, baby. Experience.
The old leadership card.
No? All right. Fine.
Thank you very much, everyone. Does Steve Nicol wear pyjamas?
Oh, I don't want to know.
Leave it.
Till tomorrow. Goodbye. Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined here on the couch today by Shaka Hislop, Ali Moreno and Paul Mariner. Raf Honigstein will be with us shortly. And a little later on in the programme, Alexis Nunes will be here. She quite literally made a splash, didn't she, at the weekend when she met Pogba and Lukaku. It's gone viral. She'll be telling us what provoked her getting pushed in the pool. But for now, we're joined by Adrian Healy, who is outside Manchester United's team hotel in LA. Of course, Aid, it was made official today, wasn't it? Romelu Lukaku, the latest addition to the Manchester United squad, and you were at his first training session.
Indeed, and as he said, standing right outside the Montage Hotel here in swanky Beverly Hills. The players inside as we speak, resting up, getting ready for session number 2 of the day. Yes, it's 2 a days to start things off for Jose Mourinho in year 2. We were there to see Romelu Lukaku emerge for the first time officially as a Manchester United player. £75 million. He's looking forward to playing in front of 75,000 at Old Trafford. And there was probably, I don't know, 30 people there to see him come out at UCLA Drake Stadium this morning. A little bit of a low-key start for him. Probably he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Wearing the red bib right from the start, fitted right in, playing in a group alongside his good friend Paul Pogba, and being put through their paces early on.
What was the atmosphere like? It's obviously, Mourinho's had good 12 months now to work with the team. The pre-season last year seemed to be full of problems. This one seems a bit smoother so far.
Yeah, Dan, it's been really noticeable being up close with Mourinho, seeing him operate both yesterday and today. Smiles, chit-chatting, hugs. Just a very different figure that he's cutting from a year ago. Remember the frustrations around that Asian tour, the big derby getting cancelled, the weather being an issue. He, make no mistake, is in his element here. He loves it here. I think this is the 9th time he's been here with various teams over the years, so he's very much the smooth operator when it comes to operating this stuff. And he likes the anonymity. I mentioned how few there were there this morning, predominantly a British media crew, not too much local media attention. In fact, I even heard one of the British journalists, Dan, saying, hang on a sec, why isn't this on the front cover of USA Today? The fact that United had just touched down. But I guess it's different media worlds we live in.
Yes, slightly, to say the least, Aid. So, obviously, all eyes will be on Lukaku making his debut. They've got LA Galaxy and they've got RSL, haven't they, in a matter of a 48-hour period starting this weekend. When can we expect him to start?
Well, the word is that we may not see him in the first of those two friendlies. That's on Saturday against the Galaxy, just 20 miles from here at the Suburb Centre. We're being told that perhaps RSL, the game against Salt Lake, in Salt Lake City on Monday, might be the first time we're seeing Lukaku. To my eyes, he was training with the first team today. He was wearing the red bibs. He saw them going through some routines where he was clearly operating as a first-team member. But maybe Mourinho just being cautious with his new £75 million acquisition right from the start and giving him a few extra days. They will need to play with two essentially different teams, given that those two games are so close together.
Adrian Healy, thank you very much. For a lot more from Aid, he keeps telling us how hard he's working in Beverly Hills. You can go over to ESPNFC.com and see what he's up to. Aid, of course, will be in California all week. So, it's official, boys. Romelu Lukaku is a United player. Mariner, you were talking earlier, and we discussed this on yesterday's show, how it's very different playing for Everton than it is Manchester United. Now, you had first-hand experience of this. At Ipswich, you were a big boy, no problem, scoring goals for fun. Then you moved to Arsenal, a lot more pressure on you.
A lot more pressure is an understatement, Dan. Look, with no disrespect to Everton, Everton are beefing up, yeah, but in previous seasons, playing for Everton with a number 9 shirt, there's not that much media coverage, there's not that much pressure. In Liverpool, yes. But when you pull the number 9 shirt on for Manchester United, and depends who you talk to, whether it's one of or the biggest or one of the biggest clubs in the world, the pressure is incredible because it's every single day. The press are at the training, unless it's a closed session, the press are there every single day. And they will be asking questions about Lukaku. What's his form like?